Добрий день, з вами Ольга.
Good afternoon, my name is Olga Tomanova and I want to thank everybody who joins the Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. It's day 344 of the full-scale invasion of the Russian occupiers in our land, and now we will be talking about the situation in Mykolaiv region. Joining us online is Vitaly Kim, the military governor of Mykolaiv region. Good afternoon, Mr. Vitaly. Good afternoon. Mr. Vitaly, what's the situation in the region? We know that Ochakiv community is constantly under shellings, which happen on a daily basis. What's the situation as of today? Well, look, I'll put it this way. The shellings are going on daily basis. Yesterday and today there were no casualties and significant damage. There were only 3 days that it was not shelled. All these days they're being shelled on a daily basis. Yeah, we understand the situation, but thanks God there are no casualties these days. As to the critical infrastructure in Mykolaiv region, do you have any information? What's going on with the power supply? Do we have any problems in that area? Well, I cannot help but asking obviously about water supply, because it's a big issue for Mykolaiv. Well, talking about power supply in Mykolaiv region, we are within limits without power shutdowns. Well, we have actually shutdowns, so we try to balance all of it and we try to go within the limits. As to the renewal of the power grid, out of 88 settlements that were without power supply for a long time, it's only 27 left to reconnect. The works are still in progress. As to the gas supply, we have 11 out of 17 to get reconnected. There are some remote settlements, such as Bezimane, for example, with a population of about 20 families. And the area line going there is 16 kilometers and it's damaged, but we still try to rebuild it. As to the heat supply, everything works perfectly. As to the water supply, do you have any forecast when the system will be repaired and you will be able to get the potable water flowing in the system? Well, the matter of water is pretty all right. We have some emergencies, but sometimes after the shelling or emergency shutdowns, we have to do some repair works, but generally the situation is fine. Well, as to the demining, we understand that some settlements along the front lines are constantly under shellings, but is this demining work still in progress, and in what phase are we at the moment? Well, the demining works are mostly focused on the deoccupied territories in Mykolaiv region. It's 10% of the territory which is either mined or which requires additional inspection. It's 270,000 hectares of agricultural lands mostly that we did not proceed to so far, but we have additional teams working in our region, and some foreign teams and humanitarian teams who actively demine the areas where it's most necessary for the civilians. So unfortunately, we keep getting some reports about the explosions. Sometimes it's civilians or humanitarian workers or the miners affected by it. Unfortunately, for the time being, we are the most mined country in the world now, but that process will be going on for a long time. So please follow the advice of regional councils and the regional administrations and representatives of Ukraine emergency services. Well, Mr. Vitaly, unfortunately, Mykolaiv region was heavily affected by the missile strikes and shellings of the occupiers. As to the degree of destruction, of damage, how bad is it? And talking about the reconstruction works, what's already done and what's planned for this year. Almost 16,000 facilities are damaged or destroyed across the region. About 10,000 of them are one-story residential buildings. Some of them are not completely destroyed, and we can rebuild or already rebuild some of them. Both the government and the international partners are involved in that process. Well, so some facilities such as kindergartens, schools, and hospitals, well, not the basic ones, but the branches are about to be reconstructed so people can continue receiving services over there. As to the private residential buildings, there is a program in place, and there is a program in development for the businesses, and it will be available shortly. So the works are still in progress, but the mass reconstruction will be happening after our victory. We have questions on the floor. Dear colleagues, please go ahead. Good afternoon. During the visit of President Zelensky to Mykolaiv region, he made a statement that we need to get the ports of Mykolaiv region added to the grain deal. Are there prospects in terms of liberation of Kinburn Spit? And with account of the fact that 10% of the lands, of agricultural lands, are mined, what is the plan for spring campaign? Do the farmers have sowing material, fuel, and so on and so forth? Thank you for your question. As to the grain deal we were inspecting, we were talking about the ports of Mykolaiv region. The operators are 90% ready for the works on the grain corridor. However, the liberation of the Kinburn Spit is the additional factor that may open this opportunity to us. First of all, is the agreement of the Russians to have the ports of Mykolaiv region added to the grain deal, because we don't actually target our ships. The threat is posed by the Russians, who were shelling the vessels which were trying to go out of the ports of Mykolaiv region out to the sea. So it all depends on them. As to the second question of yours, 10% of the territory is a big figure. It will influence the efficiency of our works 10% respectively. So the main problem is not the availability of fuel or seeds, it's about the availability of funds, because our region has limited lending capabilities due to the war risks, and this question was already discussed. We discussed the establishment of a fund which could ensure the risks of the banks, so they could work in this region in terms of lending. Well, as to the number of people, we see that the residents of Mykolaiv and Mykolaiv region are coming back to their homes. What is the approximate number of people that you see and understand in Mykolaiv region? Well, I will put it this way. I cannot say completely. We see that there is a large number of people coming back. The life is getting reinvigorated. Well, it's about 300 to 400,000 people. You know, people are even coming back to Kherson regardless the shellings. Thank you for joining our broadcast. Thank you for your optimistic outlook, dear colleagues. I'm reminding you, joining us was Vitaly Kim, the military governor of Mykolaiv region. Our team is working on the schedule for tomorrow. Please follow our announcements, bear with us, trust in our armed forces, and glory to Ukraine.